Good morning and welcome to the Roving Balys. We are currently in Singapore. It's our first time in Singapore and we're excited to go out and start to explore it.
Singapore is world famous for its futuristic skyline, but there's so much more to this city than Marina Bay. From peaceful manicured gardens to bustling Chinatown and glitzy mega malls. From cheap hawker food to one of the most iconic and expensive cocktails we've ever had, we discover a very different side of Singapore. And to cover all this ground without wearing ourselves out in the tropical heat, we found an easy way to explore.
When you arrive in a new city, especially a big one like Singapore, it's hard to get yourself orientated. So today we're doing something that we've done before in other cities. We're catching a hop-on, hop-off bus.
It's a good way to get your bearings around a city and then you can sort of get an overall view and then see where you'd like to get back to, and it's usually a low-cost little tour that goes around and has a bit of a commentary, so we're looking forward to checking it out this morning before it gets too hot.
We picked up this little brochure from Concierge. It's a little map of the routes of the hop-on, hop-off bus, so we'll have a look at that. So there's the map of the city of Singapore. There's actually two hop-on, hop-off buses. There's a yellow line and a red line, and we'll do the yellow line today and the red line tomorrow. But both buses start up here at the Suntec City Mall and head to Marina Bay, which is where a lot of first-time visitors to Singapore hang about. It's got a lot of the iconic attractions like Gardens by the Bay and the Marina Bay Sands Hotel. And from there we'll head out west to Botanical Gardens and then follow Orchard Road, which is a huge shopping district, all the way back down to the starting point. And just before we reach the start, we're stopping here at the famous Raffles Hotel for a very special drink. Then tomorrow, the red line will take us up to the Little India area and down to the Chinatown area. Our hotel is the Fullerton, which is number 4 here on the yellow line, so we could actually get picked up from right in front of the hotel. But we've decided to walk across the bridge to Suntec City Mall to catch the bus from the starting point. We walked to the far end of Suntec City Mall and picked up our 48-hour big bus tickets from the tourist hub, costing us around 85 Aussie dollars each. And as luck would have it, the bus was sitting right there ready to leave, so we hopped aboard and off we went. The buses run about every half an hour, give or take a few minutes, and you're given little earphones with a running commentary in multiple languages, pointing out the sights along the way. We passed through our first stop at the Singapore Flyer observation wheel without getting off, and continued on to one of the most unique and photographed buildings in Singapore, Marina Bay Sands. 3 57-storey towers are topped by a massive sky park that looks like a ship sailing across their rooftops. This extraordinary luxury hotel has become the centrepiece of Singapore's downtown skyline and was our first hop-off of the day.
Wow.
We are currently in the
Marina Sands. This
lobby.
Wow.
It's insane. It goes up forever and ever and ever.
This is just ultra modern and just awesome.
My personal preference is the old colonial, the history, the charm. I'm more of a classical design person rather than the modern, but so far it looks wow. But what we just saw, which was quite funny, was 2 people walking down this main lobby area in their dressing gowns. I'm like, okay, that's really random. I don't know if they've been to a day spa or a pool somewhere. I don't know, because like anyone can walk in here.
Yeah, any tourist can come in here, but they've probably, come down from their room, had a day spa or been to the swimming pool.
Good luck to them. They're very confident.
Put their robes on and they're walking around the hotel.
We'll see if we can find some more. Let's go exploring. Let's have a look.
But Marina Bay Sands is much more than a hotel. It's a huge resort and entertainment complex, complete with a casino, convention centre, theatres and restaurants, and a luxury shopping mall. We're not really casino people, but shops, well, that's definitely up Lydia's alley.
There's a little boat ride down the middle of the
Oh,
shop.
wow. I don't really like going to shopping centres. Shopping is boring for me, but this would make it a little bit more interesting if we had boats taking us up and down the shopping centres at home.
Or I could just put Chris in one and he could have a little sleep and I could go shopping.
Back on the road again, we passed by Gardens of the Bay without getting off the bus. Don't worry, we'll be back here in our next episode. It's an amazing place, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that one. We then drove through the city, crisscrossing the Singapore River, until the concrete jungle suddenly gave way to real jungle, and we knew we'd arrived at the Singapore Botanic Gardens.
We've been around the Marina Bay area, but now we've stopped off at the Botanical Gardens. There goes the bus. This is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, so it's worth stopping and having a look around.
We're at the Botanic Gardens and I've just noticed this little Learning Forest audio tour. So if you've got Spotify, you can scan this little code and then connect to an audio tour. So we do have Spotify, so we're going to give it a try. And it's got all the little spots along the way. Here we go.
The Learning Forest audio guide will take you on an immersive walking tour through the Learning Forest within Singapore Botanic Gardens. As you explore this area of rich biodiversity, look out for the 9 audio points along the route to learn more about the Learning Forest freshwater swamp and lowland dipterocarp forest habitat, and what it takes behind the scenes to create and maintain this area.
It's very peaceful and pretty here, and it's so peaceful in fact that there's a little turtle in the background who's floating on a bit of bamboo leaf. He's just floating down the waterway.
Should we go for a walk
Yep.
along this elevated boardwalk?
I need a cold drink.
Yeah, that'd
The
be good.
humidity is next level.
Sharing himself, trying to stay cool.
You start to appreciate botanical gardens as you get older. It must be a coming of age thing. All of a sudden I'm like, oh, I really like botanical gardens. Hey babies, hello. You're so cute. Oh, look at them all.
They also have a famous orchid garden here if you want to come and see some lovely orchids. Apparently it's really beautiful. We don't really have time, unfortunately, but you could certainly spend a whole day here at the Botanical Gardens. But we've got a bus to catch, plenty more to see.
From the peace and quiet of the Botanic Gardens, we next stopped on Orchard Road, Singapore's famous shopping boulevard. For some people, more than 2 kilometres of shopping mall after shopping mall might be their idea of the perfect holiday. I'm not one of those people, but it was still an interesting experience. We hopped off at the western end of Orchard Road, and there were a couple of things that we quickly noticed. Firstly, the road slopes gently downhill as you make your way east, which made for an easier walk in that direction. And secondly, the further east we went, the more the shopping changed. from the luxury brands around Ion Orchard and Paragon to much more affordable everyday shops. We made it out of the shops alive and continued our journey back towards the starting point. But there was still one more stop we had to make, the very last stop on the map, at the legendary Raffles Hotel.
We were going to stay here.
But it was too expensive.
There was at one point a good deal, similar to what we're paying now, but then by the time I went back on to book it, it had doubled.
Which is over $1,000 a night.
Raffles Hotel opened way back in 1887 and quickly became one of the great hotels of the golden age of travel. Over the years, it's hosted everyone from writers like Rudyard Kipling to Hollywood movie stars, royalty and even Michael Jackson. And of course, there's the Singapore Sling, which was created here in the Long Bar in 1915. So naturally, there was only one thing we could do.
Found the sign to the Long Bar, so now we're going to go and try a Singapore Sling, which is a cocktail that was originated in Singapore, in Raffles specifically. So we don't know what's in it, but we're going to find out very shortly. You can smell the gin as you walk in. It's got a very strong scent of gin. Yeah, look at the fans, aren't they gorgeous? Just gently fanning. We need them in our bedroom. Just slowly fanning me. You can bring me grapes while my fans fan me. Lovely, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much, that's great, thank you.
Oh, we've got a big bag of peanuts too.
It's not the place you'd pick for being able to throw peanuts on the floor, but you can throw peanuts on the floor. I felt my feet crunching as I walked in. Someone's poor job is to clean up all these peanuts at the end of the night. Don't get any ideas about doing this at home.
I know, I'll be the one cleaning it up.
You sure will. Let's have a look at the menu. So we're definitely going to have a Singapore Sling. I might just show you.
Yeah.
The original Singapore Sling is Brass Lion, Singapura Gin, Benedictine, Luxardo, Cherry, Sangu, Malacco. I'm not pronouncing this right. I don't know what it is. Ferrand Dry Curacao, Raffles Signature Grenadine, Pineapple Juice, Fresh Lime Juice, Spice Plantation Bitters.
The drinks have arrived, but Liddy has to finish her peanuts first.
I'll wash them down.
All right.
We'll do the...
Here we go. Here's the Singapore Sling.
It's good. I believe it was designed for the women who used to come frequent here because they didn't have a ladies' drink. So it was designed for the ladies to have a little tipple in the afternoon.
Oh, it is strong.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Apparently it was originally designed so that it looked like a fruit drink, so that the guys didn't know that the girls were drinking alcohol. But they must have known after one or two of these, I'm sure, because they probably wouldn't have been standing. This is strong.
It's really strong. I had a bit of a whoa.
Well done.
They're nice though, aren't they?
They're lovely.
Really
they
nice.
are really nice, I have to say. It's not just a tourist gimmick, although they did cost 44 Singapore dollars, which is about 50 Australian dollars. So, yeah, the prices are definitely touristy. But it was, I mean, you can't come to Singapore and to Raffles and not do a Singapore Sling. They are the iconic thing to do, really, isn't it?
Thank you.
We just paid, and with GST, it comes to about $53 each. Singapore, my goodness, I don't think I've ever paid that much for a drink But anyway, you do it once.
You got to do it. If you come to Singapore, it's got to be done, doesn't
Yep.
it? But just start saving now.
Yeah. But anyway, we've got a bus to catch.
After our Singapore Sling, we decided it was probably time for a lie down. But it was a great way to top off our first day exploring Singapore.
Very colourful today.
You are.
And you are too.
I am, yeah. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Singapore. This morning we're back on the hop-on, hop-off bus, but this time we're doing the other line. Yesterday was the yellow route, which took us to all the icons of Singapore, but today we're off on the red route, which takes us more to the historic cultural areas, so Little India, Chinatown.
The first neighbourhood we passed through was Little India, one of the city's most colourful districts, with its traditional shop houses, Hindu temples and Indian restaurants and shops, some open 24 hours a day. We then continued into Kampong Glam, Singapore's historic Malay and Muslim quarter. This neighbourhood is centred around the impressive Sultan Mosque, with its two massive golden domes. The area is a colourful mix of heritage buildings, Middle Eastern and Malay restaurants, boutiques and street art. From Little India and Kampong Glam, we headed back through the heart of the city, crossing the Singapore River before arriving in Chinatown, where we hopped off to take a closer look.
Before we hopped off the bus, the commentary gave us some interesting facts.
There used to be tigers here in Singapore, so there was a lot of jungle around, and when they started to clear the jungle back in the 1800s, the tigers got dispersed and displaced, and they then ended up attacking hundreds of people each year. So they ended up putting up an award for people to kill them, which was $100 back in the day, which was a lot of money, and they killed them because they were killing the people. That was news to us. We didn't know that there was tigers in Singapore back in the day, and there's not any anymore.
Sadly, well,
Yeah, sadly.
sadly for the tigers, probably not for the people that they attacked.
That's it.
But we're standing in front of the oldest Hindu temple in Singapore. It's called Sri Mariamman Temple, and it's very, very colourful. So we might duck across the road now and have a quick look at that.
Built in 1827, the temple is dedicated to Mariamman, a Hindu goddess believed to protect against disease and illness.
I love how colourful these Hindu temples are. They're just so joyous, aren't they? And the gentleman was just performing his prayers. Very moving, actually. Almost right next door to the Hindu temple, we have the Buddha Tooth Relic Temple, which sounds very intriguing. It's very impressive looking building, multi-storey temple, so hopefully we can get inside and go searching for Buddha's tooth. Wow. Well, that was really worth going to. If you come to Singapore, It's really worth coming to this Buddha Tooth Relic temple. It was a beautiful temple. Down on the first floor it was a prayer hall, very ornate with statues, lots and lots of statues of Buddha. And then as we went up to level 3 there was a museum dedicated to Buddha's life and his teachings. And then up on level 4 they had the relic of the tooth of Buddha. We weren't allowed to film up there, but it was a glassed off room with a golden domed stupa and gold tiles on the floor and golden statues and dragons. So it's really worth going to. If you come here, just stop in. It costs nothing. It's free to get into. So definitely worth stopping into if you're visiting Chinatown here in Singapore.
After our temple visit, we explored Chinatown, admiring the beautifully preserved shop houses, wandering through the shops and stalls, and watching people go about their everyday lives, before arriving at Maxwell Food Centre just in time for lunch.
We're at Maxwell Food Centre, which is probably the most famous hawker food centre here in Chinatown in Singapore. So let's go and check out what they've got on the menu.
Maxwell is home to more than 100 food stores, serving a huge variety of Singapore dishes. And the most famous of them all is Tian Hainanese chicken rice, which has become something of a Singapore institution. And with Hainanese chicken being gluten-free for Lydia, how could we resist?
This looks like a popular place. They're all lining up here, and the line goes back down here, and back down here, and back down here. I'll get on the end of the line. The longer the line, the better the food. That's my motto. I think for the Hainanese chicken, it's only 5 Singapore dollars. So you can eat like a king and pay like a peasant.
For anyone who hasn't tried it before, Hainanese chicken rice is basically poached chicken, served with a fragrant chicken-flavoured rice and a spicy chilli sauce. It's simple, but when it's done well, it's absolutely delicious. After our cheap hawker centre meal, we hopped back on the bus, crossing the city once more to return to our Fullerton hotel. The Fullerton is considered to be one of the best hotels in Singapore. If you want a more detailed look at this luxury hotel, you can watch our last video, which I'll link in the description and at the end of this video. After freshening up, we headed out again, passing by some now familiar paintings on the hotel corridor walls as we left. We strolled next door to Merlion Park, home to the 8.5 metre high Merlion statue. This half-lion, half-fish fountain is a symbol of Singapore, but it also seems to be a popular place to hang out in the late afternoon, and apparently have a drink. The park also borders Merlion Jetty, a launching point for river cruises, giving passengers a different perspective of Marina Bay and the Singapore River. From the water, we got a fantastic view of Marina Bay Sands, with its 3 towers rising behind the distinctive lotus-shaped Art Science Museum. Even the local otter family seemed impressed. After a lap of Marina Bay, our little boat then navigated upstream into the Singapore River, passing by our hotel as it went. We cruised by Boat Quay with its waterside restaurants, before continuing onto Clarke Quay, one of Singapore's best known food and entertainment districts, and the turnaround point for our cruise. We also visited Clarke Quay in our last video, so be sure to check that out if you'd like to see more. We then headed back downstream to Marina Bay and the jetty at Merlion Park. Our 40-minute river cruise cost 25 Singapore dollars each and was a great way to wind up our 2 days exploring many of the top things to do in Singapore in a relaxed and easy way. We hope you've enjoyed coming along with us today, and we'd love for you to subscribe so you don't miss the next video in our Singapore series, where we visit the amazing gardens by the bay and discover how you can enjoy the views from the top of Marina Bay Sands without paying for the viewing platform. We hope you'll come roving with us then. Bye for now.